going deep into the world of Beetlejuice, a film that's like as hilarious as it is strange.
It is fascinating how often these like cult classics,
Yeah.
these movies we just adore, were actually like misunderstood at first.
Yeah.
They challenge like the norms, and sometimes it takes audiences a while to catch up to that kind of originality.
Right. Like imagine this. It's 1986 Universal Studios. Producer Larry Wilson is pitching Beetlejuice, absolutely sure he's got a hit on his hands. And how does the studio executive react?
Oh my.
He practically yells at the guy, questioning his whole career.
Wow. It's a good reminder that even the most beloved films often faced an uphill battle to get made. Creative vision and persistence, even when facing like rejection, can be the key ingredients to success.
Yeah, Beetlejuice was no exception. The script was passed around and rejected by several studios. They said it was just too weird for them. And to be fair, the original script by Michael McDowell was on the darker side. We're not just talking about a mischievous ghost here. Beetlejuice was actually written as a straight-up demon who was actually trying to kill the Deetz family.
Wow. In the original script, Beetlejuice was much more menacing. He was like a demonic force who posed a real threat to the living. Imagine Lydia not befriending him, but becoming like his target.
Yeah.
That's a whole different level of scary.
That's wild. The shift from a purely horror-focused story to the horror comedy we know and love was a huge turning point. Finding that balance between spooky and funny is such a delicate act.
Absolutely. The blend of horror and comedy is what gives Beetlejuice its unique flavor. It allows the film to explore like darker themes while still maintaining a playful and entertaining tone.
It was screenwriter Walter Scarron who eventually came in and lightened things up. But even in those early darker drafts, Tim Burton saw something special. He wanted to create a film that reflected everyday life but with a twist. That life just happened to be in the afterlife. McDowell himself perfectly described the final script as a feel-good movie about death.
That description is so spot on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beetlejuice manages to find humor and heart in a subject that's often considered taboo.
Right. The afterlife is an IRS office. That's brilliant. Who hasn't felt that level of bureaucratic frustration in their own lives?
Exactly. It's finding those relatable moments in the most unexpected places that's the magic of Beetlejuice.
Okay, so we can't talk about the magic of Beetlejuice without talking about Michael Keaton. His performance as Beetlejuice is legendary, and get this, he improvised a lot of it.
That's what's so amazing about filmmaking. Sometimes the most memorable moments are born out of spontaneity. That willingness to experiment, to play around on set, can lead to pure genius.
He created that crazy voice, that wild striped suit, all from experimenting and playing around on set.
And that's what makes Beetlejuice such a compelling character. He's unpredictable, he's larger than life, and he's totally unforgettable. And here's another interesting tidbit. He's only actually on screen for about 18 minutes.
Wait, really?
It's true.
Only 18 minutes.
And you know that limited screen time actually works to the film's advantage. It makes each scene with Beetlejuice even more impactful. It's like this burst of energy that you just can't wait to see again.
It's almost like absence makes the heart grow fonder.
There's something about this movie that just keeps people coming back for more.
I know, right? One of the things that makes it so unique is how it turns the whole haunted house thing on its head. Instead of the living being terrified of the ghosts, it's the ghosts who are annoyed by the living. It's like they're stuck with the world's worst roommates.
Exactly. The Maitlands are completely lost in their new ghostly forms, trying to figure out the rules of the afterlife, and they can't even scare the new homeowners properly. It's almost endearing how inept they are at being scary ghosts.
Which is where our favorite bioexorcist comes in. But Beetlejuice isn't exactly the friendly Casper-type ghost they were hoping for.
No, not at all. He's mischievous, unpredictable, and, to be honest, a little dangerous. He perfectly embodies the chaos and absurdity of Burton's vision of the afterlife.
And that vision is so different from what we usually see in other movies about ghosts. It's not heaven, it's not hell, it's this bizarre bureaucratic nightmare. It's like the DMV, but for the afterlife.
That's what makes it so brilliant. It's relatable, even in its absurdity. This idea that even in death, we're still dealing with paperwork and waiting rooms. It's a funny take on those universal frustrations we all experience.
It's like death doesn't free you from red tape. It just gives you a new set of forms to fill out.
Right.
And speaking of visual distinctiveness, can we talk about the film's style for a minute? It's so unmistakably Tim Burton.
It absolutely is. Those exaggerated set designs, the quirky costumes, everything has this playful but macabre feel to it.
It's that perfect blend of gothic and whimsical that he's so known for. His artistic vision is so strong, and it really created a world that's both creepy and charming.
And even though special effects might look a little different compared to what we see today, they were revolutionary for their time.
Right. The stop-motion animation, the puppetry, the practical effects, they all work together to bring that fantastical world to life.
They really do. And honestly, they have this charm and tangible quality that CGI often lacks. It's like you can almost reach out and touch the sets and creatures.
It's that handcrafted feel that gives the movie its unique texture and personality. And of course, we can't forget about the music. Danny Elfman's score is just as iconic as the visuals.
It really is. The music is playful, spooky, and incredibly catchy. It's a perfect reflection of the film's energy and spirit.
It captures that mischievous energy so well. The music isn't just background noise, it's like another character in the film.
Exactly. It helps drive the story, it adds to the comedy, and it enhances that sense of otherworldly mystery.
It's amazing to think how Beetlejuice has influenced so many other films and TV shows that came after it. I see little bits of it everywhere, from The Nightmare Before Christmas to even Stranger Things.
Its influence is definitely widespread. It helped pave the way for a whole wave of dark comedies and fantasy films that embraced the strange and unconventional. It gave filmmakers permission to be weird, to push boundaries and find humor in the unexpected.
And it launched the careers of some pretty big stars. Winona Ryder as Lydia Deetz was phenomenal. She brought so much depth to that character, this goth teenager who finds a sense of belonging with ghosts.
She really did. Ryder perfectly captured Lydia's outsider status, her intelligence, and her fascination with the darker side of things. Her performance really resonated with a lot of young people at the time and helped establish her as a major talent.
And to me, that's one of the things that makes Beetlejuice so special. It manages to appeal to audiences of all ages. It's scary enough to thrill kids, funny enough to entertain adults, and it even sparks some deeper conversations about life and death.
Beetlejuice is proof that you don't have to choose between being entertaining and thought-provoking. You can be both. And it's a testament to the power of imagination, originality, and a willingness to embrace the things that make us different.
Beautifully said. It's a movie that stays with you long after you've seen it.
It really does.
Yeah.
It makes you think, it makes you laugh, and it might even make you want to do the Deo dance in a graveyard.
Okay, maybe let's not encourage any grave robbing, but I get what you're saying. It definitely encourages us to embrace life, death, and all the strange and wonderful things in between. What is Beetlejuice really trying to tell us?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice has so many layers. It's practically a 7-layer dip of symbolism and themes.
Yeah.
On the surface, it's a wacky comedy, but like underneath, there are some really thought-provoking ideas about life, death, and everything in between.
Like the whole idea of being seen. You know, the Maitlands are desperate to make their presence known, but they're basically invisible to the living.
Right.
I feel like that's something we can all relate to on some level.
It is. It's a powerful metaphor for that universal feeling of wanting to be heard and acknowledged. We all have those moments where we feel like we're fading into the background. The Maitland struggles as ghosts tap into that very human desire for connection.
And then you have Lydia, who feels like a total outsider in her own family. She's drawn to the darkness, to the macabre, because it reflects how she feels inside.
Lydia's journey is all about finding her place in the world, about owning her individuality, even if it makes her different. And it's interesting that it's her connection to the other side, to the Maitlands, that helps her feel seen and understood.
It's almost like the film is saying that sometimes you have to embrace the weird, the unconventional to truly find yourself. Maybe the people who are a little off are actually the ones who see the world most clearly.
That's a great point. Beetlejuice definitely celebrates nonconformity. Look at Beetlejuice himself. He's loud, obnoxious, and he doesn't care what anyone thinks. He completely embodies that spirit of embracing your weirdness.
So why do you think Beetlejuice still resonates with audiences decades later? What is it about this film that has made it such a lasting part of pop culture?
I think it's because it touches on these universal themes that we all grapple with. Belonging, identity, finding meaning in a world that doesn't always make sense. It reminds us that it's okay to be different, to embrace our quirks, and to find humor in the darkest of places.
It also maybe helps us feel a little less afraid of death, or at least the unknown.
Right. It makes death seem a little less scary and a lot more funny.
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, is a pretty great coping mechanism.
Beetlejuice is one of those films that stays with you. It makes you think, it makes you laugh, and it might even inspire you to wear some stripes and say, it's showtime in the mirror.
I wouldn't recommend trying to summon any bioexorcists. But I definitely agree that it encourages us to live life to the fullest, to embrace our weirdness, and to remember that death is just another part of the journey.
Well said. But I think the most important takeaway is that it's a film that celebrates being different, taking risks, and finding joy in the unexpected.
And that sometimes the things that scare us the most can also be the things that set us free.
So the next time you're feeling invisible, misunderstood, or just in need of a good laugh, remember the lessons of Beetlejuice. Embrace your weirdness, find your tribe, and never be afraid to shake things up a bit.
And who knows, maybe you'll even stumble into a sandworm or two along the way.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into a topic you're curious about. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the weirdness alive.